Hope that worked. Hey, this is John Sylvain, and I'm doing this again. For those few of you who saw this live, there was no sound. I am not exactly sure why, but here I am again with habit forming, a guide. So, a lot of us are starting the new year, and we are setting goals and figuring out what our theme for the year is. I have some really big life changing things that I'm working on this year. The best way to get anywhere is to take one step at a time. And the very best way to basically take one step at a time is to create a habit of action, a good habit, or get rid of bad habits, depending on what your goals are. Now, here's the thing: a habit is basically it's a neurological time saver or energy saver. So the interesting thing after studying habits that scientists have figured out is that it takes a lot of energy to think consciously. Like our brains use up like 40% of the energy that we expend during the day, which is a lot more than the weight of our brains. It's hot up here. And so when we've evolved lots of little ways to save energy, and one of them is habits. Habits take almost no conscious thought. Think about if you drive to work, you don't think about anything, on any of the choices you make. If you've driven there many times, you can actually get to work without actually knowing how you got there. You have no memory of any of the things that happened. Your minds are somewhere else. Can you hear those birds flying nearby? It's like a whole sea of birds is flying near my house. It's pretty exciting. Anyway, so all this information is coming from, or actually, to learn more about habits, you should read this book. There's a lot of other great books about habits, and a lot of studies that I've actually read some of them. And but this is a great survey. This is by Charles Duhigg. Charles Duhigg, and he really covers all this information. If you want to get something done, you create a habit. Now, here's the thing about habits: they have three parts. They have a trigger, they have an action, and they have a reward. So the reason that you started doing it is because of the reward. Now, that's why bad habits and good habits, bad habits being like eating chocolate or something like that, and good habits like exercising, you do it because you get a reward at the end. And a habit is triggered by something. Either you wake up in the morning and you go down and make coffee, you get in the car and you drive to work. I mean, I've actually gotten in the car and driven to go somewhere other than where I thought I was going, and then started, going to the typical place. I mean, I'm sure you've had that experience because your mind shuts off when you're in a habit. So the best thing to do to create a habit is to, well, here's one technique, and this is let me see if I can find it. Where did it go? There it is. So you decide on a goal. You choose a specific daily action that will get you towards your goal, like for instance, exercise. And plan when and where you'll do that chosen action. So maybe you do it first thing in the morning, and every time you encounter that time and place, you get up and you put on your exercise clothes and do the action, right? Something like that, and you keep track of the times you do it until after about 10 weeks, it'll just come naturally, and you won't even have to think about it. You just get up, put on your workout clothes, and go work out. You'll just get up, brush your teeth, and then take the vitamins that are sitting right there, something like that. But here's a great tip that comes from Charles's book, or Duhigg's book. I don't know him personally, so I should call him Mr. Duhigg. And that is, one of the ways to get rid of a bad habit is to replace the action. You keep the trigger and the reward. You figure out what the trigger and the reward are, and you change the action. So, for instance, he has a great example of, he had a cookie habit. He was at, I think he was at the New York Times. He was a reporter, and he had a habit of getting up around 2 and going upstairs to the kitchen and getting a cookie. And it led to 8 pounds of more weight after a couple years of a cookie a day. And he realized he wanted to cut out the cookie, but what was the reward? Well, the reward was a little bit of sugar, but really the thing that he wanted to do was hang out with the people who were in the kitchen in the afternoon. So instead of getting that cookie, what he did was he got up and he didn't go to the kitchen. He just wandered around and found someone to talk to. And that improved his sort of social life, and he started losing weight. So that replaced that habit. So I mean, if you in the afternoon, maybe you go out with a friend and go to Starbucks and get a frappuccino, and so you look at that and say, okay, it's the 2:30 lull in work leads us to get together, and we have a habit of going to Starbucks. How about I talk to my friend and say, let's, instead of going to Starbucks, let's take that time that it takes us to get that frappuccino and go around the block a couple times and just walk. So we get that energy boost that we're looking for, that we get from that sugar in the cappuccino, and we get that social time together. But we don't get all those calories and all that the bad habit that a frappuccino is. Frappuccinos are bad habits. Okay, get it? Okay, so again, subscribe right there and check out the blog. There's more there, and I really appreciate you watching this. If you like it, mark that you like it on Facebook, or share the link, or whatever you want to do. Bye.